Welcome back to Gangs All Here, our New York Jets podcast from the New York Post. We are back from the bye week, and so are the Jets. It's Patriots week. Jake Brown here alongside my co-host, Jets beat writer for the Post, Brian Costello. No guest today, but for the first time this season, we will hear from you as we play your voicemails. We'll answer your voicemails later on in the show. Kaz, I'm dealing with the common cold, or as the doctor said, rhinovirus. I'm basically deaf in my right ear. So if you pick the Patriots, I didn't hear you, and it means you picked the Jets. We'll get to our predictions later. In Kaz, what feels like the biggest Jets game since the time they played the Patriots in 2015, which coincidentally is the last time they beat the Patriots. Would you agree that this game has that kind of importance in terms of the timeline? I don't think there's been a
Wait, are you saying the biggest Patriots game?
The biggest Jets game since.
Well, no, they played the Bills. They played the Bills a week later, Jake, with the playoffs on the line.
Well, you know what? Okay, biggest Patriots game. You know what I mean. The biggest game of importance since that season and those two games.
Yeah. Since 2015, I'd give you that because they've been there was a season 2017, Jake, I want to say, where they were pseudo in it, like in November. Remember, they were like 5-5. They beat the Chiefs with Josh McCown, and then he broke his hand in Denver, and it was all over. But yeah, the first place on the line hasn't happened in a long time. And yeah, I would go from 2015. This is the biggest game since then.
It's a 13-game losing streak. They haven't won since that overtime thriller. I think it was 26-20. December 27th, 2015. So right after you return your Christmas presents, the Jets beat the Patriots, and they never did it again until we'll save our predictions for a little bit, potentially on Sunday. Man, first place on the line. Got to thank Josh Allen's terrible kneel down attempt from the 1-yard line. Yeah. And one of the craziest. I mean, Kaz, did you get a chance to watch? I know it was your bye week. I don't know. Maybe you were watching other football, but what a freaking wild finish that was.
Yeah, I saw the very, very end, Jake. After that happened, I saw the Bills drive to tie it in the overtime. That was all I really got to see. I was watching 7th grade football.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yes, for a chunk of the day. And then I was serving as a catcher for my daughter in her pitching clinic, Jake. So yes, but I did get to see I got to see the very end and caught up obviously with the highlights and everything. And the quarterback sneak fumble thing was one of the wildest things ever. Right. I like that's up there with Joe Pisarcik. That was crazy.
We have our own Patrick Mazika on the Gangs All Here podcast here in Brian Costello. I like that.
My back and my hamstrings are killing me. And it wasn't that long.
It wasn't a bye week for your body. You were doing more physical labor than you normally do on Sundays in the press box. But yeah, this is big. And thanks, to the Vikings and Kirk Cousins for that win, because the Jets have set themselves up for first place. They lead the tiebreaker over the Bills. They lead the tiebreaker over the Dolphins. They don't lead the tiebreaker over the Patriots. Another reason why this game is so important, to at least even up the head-to-head rankings. What's the next tiebreaker? Is it divisional standings, right?
It goes, yes, yeah. But they right now, Jake, like the first place thing, I get it. Like obviously, Jets fans should be thrilled, but these teams have so many games against each other in the next month that it's really this is you're right. It's about tiebreakers right now because the Jets play all three. Right. I think I did this the other day. I think the Dolphins play all three, and I think the Bills and Patriots have yet to play. So they have to play each other twice, and then they play the other two. So they have 4 division games left. So there's a lot of football to be played in the AFC East to decide this thing. But you're right, Jake. It's really now tiebreakers. Getting the split with the Patriots would be huge in that regard.
Yeah, and just beating the Patriots for the psyche of the franchise would be huge because it just hasn't happened in so long. And, they'll be scoreboard watching a little bit because the Bills have 2 to 3 feet of snow coming into Buffalo on Sunday. I'm curious just to see what they're going to do with that game. Are they going to move it up? Do they move it back? Do they play in 2 feet of snow?
But the Bills play on Thanksgiving, Jake, right? So I don't think they can move that game to like Monday. Like I don't think they can I don't know how that would work because
And the issue is the snow, I think, starts Thursday or Friday, so they can't move it up a day or two.
Yeah. So they unless they make a decision like in the next 24 hours to move the game. Remember the Jets Bills game that was played in Detroit, Jake? They just moved. Remember Buffalo had a storm, and you may remember the Bills who hadn't
What
been able
year
to
was
practice
that?
all 2014. The Bills didn't practice all week and they destroyed the Jets in Detroit. So like, they could do that. They could move it to a, if there's a city that doesn't have a game this week, they could move it possibly. But I think they'd have to pull the trigger on that in the next 48 hours or so.
If not, that becomes the Snow Bowl, and which favors the Browns in that one with their running game. So we'll see what plays out there. The Dolphins have a bye this week. Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, he's 7-0, I believe, as a quarterback this year. Just incredible what the Dolphins are doing. There's a chance that all four of these teams make the playoffs. That is still
I don't think
on the
that'll
table.
happen, Jake. I don't think that'll happen just because, like I said, I think they're
The
going to
head-to-heads.
Yeah, they're going to beat each other up, and there's some tough games on the schedules for everybody left. I did the schedules the other day, and like if you look at the Patriots, what they've got coming up, Jake, if you call their schedule up, they have, I think it's 3 games in 12 days. They get the Jets, then I think they play the Vikings on Thanksgiving, and then they play the Bills the next Thursday. So like this 3-game stretch for the Patriots is basically their season. Like if they somehow lose those 3, it's all, they're done. If they lose 2 or 3, they're probably done.
Yeah, I was looking up today the schedule for all the divisional teams, and it's Vikings, Bills, then the Cardinals, who aren't a cakewalk. Their only cakewalk game is the Raiders, and then Bengals, Dolphins, Bills. So the Patriots' schedule is very difficult.
Yeah, Patriots was the toughest out of the 4. I did it the other day. I did the percentages. Patriots was the toughest. The Jets was the second, and I think the Bills and Dolphins were both at 500.
Yeah, it's the Patriots have the 4th toughest schedule in the NFL. Jets have 10th, Dolphins have 15th, and the Bills have the 18th toughest schedule remaining. So the Bills have the Browns, Lions, Pats, Jets, Dolphins, Bears, Bengals, Pats, and then the Dolphins have Texans, Niners, Chargers, Bills, Packers, Pats, Jets. So a lot of tough opponents for those teams. And this
long
one's
way to
big
go. Long way to go.
Well, it's we're schedule watching for the first time, and I was on Tankathon for other reasons. I was looking at strength of schedule for opponents, which is rare. I didn't even look at the Jets. I'm looking at strength of schedule. But remember, the Jets don't have a cakewalk either. They got the Vikings coming up. They close out with the Seahawks and Dolphins on the road. The Bears won't be a cakewalk because Justin Fields is playing out of his mind despite their 3-7 record on Darrelle Revis Day next Sunday. So a lot of tough games coming up. But the Jets, let's look at the injury report here, Kaz, going into this one. Take us through this. George Fant was eligible to come off IR. He's still not practicing. Max Mitchell, they've opened up his practice window, but I don't know if they'll rush him back. Take us through the offensive line injury report right now.
Yeah, I don't know if Mitchell will be back yet, Jake. I think he probably needs to practice a little bit. This is the first time I've seen him out there. I don't know if he was during the bye week, if he was on the field at all. So I think it would take a little while. They wouldn't rush him back. Nate Herbig didn't practice Wednesday. He had a shin injury. That's something to watch. Saleh said he's not that concerned about it, but they're getting thin, Jake, on the O-line. I mean, they're getting down now at every position, basically, except center. They're getting deep. Like if Herbig was out, they have to go down the bench to guard. They had Laurent Duvernay-Tardif.
I was going to say they might need a doctor to save them. Well, they might have one, right?
I'm not sure if he's fully a doctor yet. We were debating that today. I'm not sure, but he was. I saw him there today. He was doing a workout. He was in the locker room when we were in the locker room. It certainly looked like they were going to sign him to the practice squad. We're recording this, Jake, Wednesday night. They haven't announced anything yet. They could do that tomorrow. I would think they'd sign him to the practice squad. He knows the system. He was here last year. The question with him is what's he been doing for the last 10 months, right? Is he in shape?
He's saving lives, and now he's going to save the Jets.
But the beauty of the system now is he can go on the practice squad. They used to not be able to put veterans on the practice squad, and they can find out what kind of shape he's in and get him in better shape and get him back up. But I think you'll see Big Cedric over there at right tackle still this week,
nice
and then
job.
Mitchell work his way back.
Yeah, Big Cedric Ogbuhi has done a nice job.
Yeah, I'm not trying that one.
Yeah, it seems like Mitchell maybe another week away, and he's no savior either. I mean, this is a rookie. He's not supposed to do much either. Deep, and then offensively as well, Corey Davis. I thought he was a lock to be back this week. Didn't practice Wednesday. Do you think he plays on Sunday?
No. Here's the thing, Jake, when you're around like I am around the team, like you look for signs that guys are coming back. And like one sign that a guy's getting close is when you see him. So you see him in the locker room, maybe you see him out in the field, like running on a far field with trainers. You just see him. I have not seen Corey Davis since Denver. Like he is not around. So that tells me he is probably not playing this week. It's weird though, Jake, because he was cleared to come back in that Denver game and didn't. And now it's like he's going to miss 3 games. Next week would be 4, which would be, they should have put him on IR if he's going to miss 4 games. So it's very weird. I don't know what's going on there. I actually want to ask Salah about that on a Friday to see if we can get some answers on that.
I mean, I'm getting day to day for the life of me. I mean, I'm week to week as well here with the common cold. But Corey Davis feels like been out for a month, but they keep saying he's day to day. So I wish they would just tell me the damn truth to tell the truth with Robert Saleh. And then Sheldon Rankins, they chose not to put him on IR. What is his status?
He's
going to
out.
be back next week?
He's out now. Yeah, Mike. Now he's a guy. He was in the locker room, so he is around. Like I see him around. I'm not sure if it'll be next week or the week after, Jay, but like the bye week, I think played into the IR decision. If he misses this week and next week, he only misses 2 games and then he could come back. I think it's probably going to be a few weeks, but clearly not. They're not thinking it's going to be a 4-game injury, which would be a 5-week injury with the bye week thrown in there. So I think you'll see him back in a few weeks.
All right. Well, we'll see how they will try and stop the run without Sheldon Rankins. And then offensively as well, some news that I actually love that they're trying, and that's Elijah Moore moving to the slot, Kaz. I think this is a perfect place for him. With the amount they have him move and left and right and shifting, I mean, he's probably out of gas by the time they say hike. That if he's playing in the slot, I feel like it's a lot less of him running around like a maniac. And with the way Garrett Wilson's playing on the outside, with the way, Denzel Mims has, shown that he's made a presence on the outside, I feel like it's a no-brainer to give it a whirl with Elijah Moore in the slot and see what he could do.
And they basically did Jake against Buffalo. He played in the slot, right? No targets though still. But that was the first time I wrote a story today about it. And I looked at the numbers. That was the first time in his career he's played more slot than outside. And when he was at Ole Miss, his last year at Ole Miss, he played slot 77% of the time. So it never really made sense to me why they kicked him out. Now, his rookie year, they had Jamison Crowder, who was a good slot receiver. So it made a little bit of sense there. And I think this year they wanted to try Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson is thriving on the outside now. He's played better out there. So I think it's a good thing. And I talked to him more about it today at his locker, and he's excited. He guy just wants to contribute. He wants to have a role. And so he's excited about, possibly doing this.
Yeah. And good for him, because listen, if he can at least get a few targets, and I'm not even going to say the word screen and end arounds, but give him the ball, get it in his hands.
But they don't seem to want to, Jake, right? Because like, that's not hard. Like if you wanted to get him the ball, like you just said, bubble screen, boom, he's got the ball. The little push pass where the guy comes in motion and Zach hits him. In fact, that counts as a pass when the guy's in front of you. Do that. Like it's not hard to get him the ball. It's very weird. He played 27 snaps against the Bills with 0 targets. Like that's hard to do. The week before, he barely played against the Patriots, so he kind of understood it. I just don't know what the disconnect there is, either with LaFleur or with Zach Wilson and between Moore, but something weird there. Like it just seems like they haven't targeted it at all.
Yeah, maybe it means more outside chances for Denzel Mims down the field. We know Zach tried it early against Buffalo, nearly completed it, made a pretty good throw just out of his hands. And, what a turn of events. I mean, we're talking about Denzel Mims every week last year about why isn't he playing? And now we're talking about why is Elijah Moore not getting any targets? It's Jets and the Patriots. A couple other notes that were interesting that from the week and, the bye week. Sauce Gardner is very much the favorite for Rookie of the Year. Interesting stat. In man coverage, Kaz, he's allowed 7 yards.
Yeah. Let's talk about this, Jake. I saw that tweet today.
Uh-oh.
I watched the game against the Buffalo Bills, as I know you did.
Yep.
Do you remember the first play from scrimmage for the Buffalo Bills? Stephon Diggs went
eating Fritos.
Stephon Diggs went like this, doop, doop, whoop, 42 yards down the field. Remember that play? Sauce Gardner was covering him.
Might have been zone coverage. I don't know.
That was not zone coverage. He was on it. Like, it might have been a cover one behind him or something. But like how these websites define man coverage versus zone. Like if it was zone coverage, Sauce would have been pushing him off to somebody else behind him. He covered him all the way down the field. So to me, that was man coverage. I just don't buy, like, Sauce is playing great. He's playing great. I can see that with my eyes. I don't need these stats that people come up with because I don't buy all these stats. Like
but it's such a cool stat. Can you let us
so
have it,
subjective, though. It's so subjective, Jake. It's crazy.
It's so fun. It's fun. Don't kill the fun, Cos. It's a 7 yards. It's a great looking stat, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Not
you want to tack on your 42? Fine. 49 on the season. It's still incredible. We'll say he is 49. We'll make it like the Cos stat, ESPN stats and info COZ.
I think it was 42, right? Was it that
like
first play? Yeah. So
all right,
yeah.
49 then. All right.
He's played great. He's played great. He should be the defensive rookie of the year. But yeah, I saw that today actually, and it drove me crazy.
And it's going to be interesting to see who he covers this year because Jacoby Myers has been by far the Pats' best receiver, and he's more of a slot guy. Do we see Sauce go in the slot, or
maybe like they haven't moved him around a ton this year? They kind of left him alone, other than Mark Andrews in week 1 where he was moving. I think I've noticed they sort of, when they get in the red zone, they kind of move him around a little bit where they put him on somebody, but for the most part, he stays on the side because DJ Reed has played great too. So they haven't moved him. And honestly, Jake, the guy we haven't talked about, Michael Carter, the cornerback, has played really, really well as well too. And like he gets overshadowed by Reed and Sauce, but he's done a great job this year.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that. And also the Patriots have a couple of good tight ends in Smith and Henry. So that's going to be something to watch as well. Devontae Parker, maybe we see if he does play. I know he's a little banged up. We'll see Sauce on him, but those matchups will be interesting to watch. But two teams that very much rely on the run and are going to run it down each other's throats, and we'll see who gets the better end of it. Before we preview the game, another curious thing I just wanted to throw at you, which I know kind of made me a little sad, and good for NYCFC getting their own stadium next to Citi Field beginning in 2027, but it makes you dream of the thought.
What was that?
NYCFC, they have a new stadium.
I didn't know that.
Field.
Next to Citi Field, where?
Where the hubcaps were, where all the chop shops were. Yeah, they're all going 2027, new $850 million stadium.
What if I need a windshield when I go to a Mets game?
Then you got to get it from somewhere more legal and less black cats, because I got a tire out there once and I got attacked by like 4 black cats. It'll be a 25,000 seat stadium, but it makes me think about what happened with the Jets moving to New York. It is a joke that the Jets and Giants play at MetLife Stadium together. They should each have their own stadium. One of them should be in New York. I know the West Side Highway plan never worked out, but I'm sorry. The Jets belong in Queens, maybe Long Island, but preferably Queens. And I thought that would have been the perfect spot. You have the Mets and Jets right next to each other, Kaz. Wouldn't that have been kind of fun? That's fun for you traveling.
Not fun for me. Yeah, not fun for me personally. But yeah, I get it. Obviously the roots of the team are on Long Island. I think I just referred to them as the Shea Stadium cousins the other day. That's what they are. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The stadium now is 13 years old, right? Opened in 2010.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, 13 seasons, I guess, 12 years. You wonder how long it'll go before there are rumblings of a new stadium or desire. I mean, and look, Woody Johnson tried with the West Side Stadium. He couldn't get it through. But yeah, I get the Jets fans' desire to have their own stadium, and maybe someday it'll happen.
When you say he tried, what do you mean? Like, did he try? Was it a financial thing?
No. It was a major campaign. Look, I was not covering the team at that time, but I was around, and the way I remember it. So the Garden did not want that stadium to be built, right? Because think about it, if you're the Garden, Bruce Springsteen comes to town, he can either play the 20,000 seat Garden or he can play the 70,000 seat stadium that's about like a half a mile away. they were gonna lose a lot of entertainment to that stadium. So Dolan fought it. There was a politician at the time who fought it very hard. So they tried. I mean, that was a massive campaign by Woody at that time.
Well, maybe there'll be a nice concert at this NYCFC stadium, but there won't be football, unfortunately. Maybe there'll be a preseason game they'll bring over.
I'm just stunned they're getting rid of all the chop shops.
I'm shocked you didn't hear about this. You must have been knee deep in Jets coverage or your daughter's
football
game.
Yesterday
on Tuesday. Yeah.
Not locked in on the soccer world, Jake.
Well, it was.
They told me there's some tournament starting soon, right?
Some Cup of the World, something like that is happening at some point. Well, there's a Cup of the World happening at Gillette Stadium on Sunday, and let's preview it. The 6-3 Jets. That's right, a better record than the Patriots. 5-4 Pats. 1 p.m. CBS. Kevin Harlan, one of my favorites, and Trent Green in the call. The Patriots, once again, Jets getting disrespected, are 3-point favorites, which basically means they're calling it even because the home team gets 3 points. The over-under is a low one. They're expecting a defensive battle, 38.5 points. The Jets, fresh on their minds just a few weeks ago, October 30th at MetLife Stadium. The Patriots beat the Jets 22-17. I did a live podcast after. I was mad at Zach Wilson. I don't care that he threw for 355. He threw for 3 picks. He was seeing his own ghost. He was making decisions he should have never made, and that has to change. The Patriots, they're coming off a bye week as well. Prior to that, they sent Frank Reich packing, beating the Colts 26-3 before, the 1-0 Jeff Saturday took over the following game. Jets-Pats, big game. Kaz, break it down, make your pick. And if you pick the Patriots, I blame my clogged ear. I didn't hear it.
I need to see Zach Wilson do it against Bill Belichick, Jake, to believe it. I have watched, all these young quarterbacks lately against Bill Belichick lose, like Zach, and Sam Darnold couldn't beat him. Zach has thrown 7 interceptions in 2 of the games. The other game he got hurt against the Patriots. He's played terrible against the Patriots. They just seem to have his number. They've had the Jets number. They will continue to have the Jets number. Unclog your ear, Jake.
I hear this one loud and clear.
Pats 24, Jets 17.
Oh, I knew it was coming. But the transitive property with some of your picks means that the Jets will win.
There you go.
Here's my prediction here. The Jets have been through so much pain, turmoil against the Patriots. Bill Belichick resigning as a Jets coach. He's always shoved it down our face, from the butt fumble game to against Adam Gase, where they were laughing back and forth, declining delay of game penalties on punts, to the seeing ghost, to the 3 interceptions 3 weeks ago. This time, the Jets are better. They have fresh on their minds that game from 3 weeks ago. When you look across the board, the stats all favor the Jets. I don't care what you want to say about the Patriots' past beatdowns of the Jets. Those 13 matchups, I'm wiping away from my memory. The Pats, they allow 6.3 yards per carry to quarterbacks. We're going to see runs from Zach Wilson. 24 yards rushing 2 of his last 3 games. The Jets allow just 4 yards per carry to running backs. You got Stevenson. You got a banged up hammy with Harris, the backup as well. The Pats, the one thing they're good against is the pass. I will give them that. Number 1 against pass completion percentage quarterbacks, 56.8%. Matt Judon's going to be tough. 11.5 sacks, leads the NFL. 32 sacks, they're second in the NFL. They bring the heat, but I think LaFleur is going to dial up a lot of quick throws. We're going to see both guys, Carter and Robinson, in the backfield run the ball. We're going to have Quinnen Williams going to have 2 sacks.
Take a breath.
And Zach Wilson is going to take care of business. The pain and misery is no more. Jets end the 13-game losing streak, and they take over first place in the AFC East. Jets 23, Patriots 20. Let's go. And
here's what I love about Jake. Here's what I love about Jake's predictions. He's got all these stats that he found somewhere today. He's, this is why they're the better team. He makes it sound like the Patriots have no shot in this game. Then he comes up with a 3-point win. Like,
listen, it's in New England. They've had our number.
Come on, go 31-0.
No,
Come
well,
on, man
no,
up. Go
because then I
31
look
nothing.
like a fool.
Go.
The stats are close enough. They're close, but they
Ah,
favor the Jets.
come
Most of the
on.
stats do favor the
Be
Jets.
bold. Be bold, Jake. Go
No,
31
my
nothing.
bold is that they're going to beat them, and they haven't done it since 2015. And the drought is over. It's going to be some epic call from Bob Wischusen at the end of this game. 7 years I've been waiting to beat these stupid goddamn Patriots, and it's finally going to happen. And on Thanksgiving, we're going to be thankful this year that the New York Jets are in first place on Thanksgiving. My parents are going to say, Jake, what do you, they're going to be like, oh, I'm thankful. My brother's going to say, oh, I have a fiance now. Congrats to my brother. He got engaged. My other brother
Oh,
got married. They're going to say, oh, we're happy for our
wow.
dog. Meanwhile, I
And
can't
your
get a
parents are
text
going to look,
back.
and your
They're going
parents
to
are
look
going
to
to look,
Jake.
their
I'm
parents
going
are
to
going to,
say,
the parents are going to look at you with sheer disappointment that you're the only one not married or engaged. And then you're going to make them even more disappointed by bringing up the Jets as you're
but Jake,
thankful.
my mom, Jake, what are you thankful for? Do you have any gills in your life?
Yeah.
I'm thankful that the Jets are in first place. And they're going to be like, you're our third favorite child.
This is, she's going to say, this is why you can't get a girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, it's been a long time waiting for this, and it's finally going to happen. And if it doesn't, it won't be a depressing Thanksgiving, but it's going to be leave a sour. I still have a sour feeling in my mouth from 3 weeks ago when the Pats beat us. And I don't want it again. I want that streak to end. They could start their new streak next year. 23-20, Jets win. And we will have another episode previewing the Bears game next week as well. Well, the post game on Monday. But coming up next on Gangs All Here, we got a couple of voicemails from you, the fans, and we'll listen to them next.
You've got mail.
All right, Kaz, we opened up the voicemail box for the first time this season. In the past, we've had to do it just to hear people's thoughts on their lives and humanity and not the Jets. But now we want to hear about your thoughts on the Jets. How pumped are you? What are you concerned about? So the number is 646-974-4942. Let's hear the first voicemail this week. Cue it up, Hearts.
You've got mail.
Hey guys, this is Jessie from Long Island. My concern for this week is, I think a pretty legit one, and I think other people probably think this, but is a loss in New England this weekend going to change the whole season for us? I feel like this is a really critical game. I have full faith in Saleh. I have full faith in the coaches. I have faith in our defense, our number one defense. I even have faith in Zach and our offense. And, I fully believe in this team. Obviously, we, took a tough loss at home against New England and then completely turned it around the following week and beat Buffalo. I just feel like we have some really tough games coming up. And, this is the game. I mean, we lead the division if we win this game. And from there, it's, in our hands. So just curious to know what you guys think and if that's a legitimate concern. Thanks.
Yeah, good question there from Jesse. I don't think it changes the season, but I agree that it is very important, especially even just for the psyche of the team. Like you lose to the Patriots twice, the last time devastating fashion, especially if this is like a Nick Folk, I don't want to say his name, field goal to win this in like the final seconds. I think that is huge. And you could have the leg up on the tiebreaker, potentially on all three teams. I know they still play each other and that will all change. But going to Thanksgiving, going into a Bears game, you're 7-3 and then you beat the Bears, you're 8-3. You have a lot more flexibility in December to lose a few games if it happens. Where if you lose this one, you're in a tougher spot in December. So, Kaz, I think this is a monster game for the Jets.
Yeah, I get where Jesse's coming from, but I think she said it in her answer. The last time they lost to the Patriots, they came back and beat the Bills the next week, right? Like players don't think like fans. They get it so ingrained in their head of just go 1-0 this week. Like they really do take it week to week. I do agree there's implications, Jake, to this loss, like tiebreaker stuff. And yeah, the margin of error gets less in December. But in terms of like this derailing their season, if they lose this and them not being able to come back from this psychologically, I don't think anything like that's going to happen. I think they could lose this game and then they could come back the next week and beat the Bears. And Then they got at Minnesota, at Buffalo are going to be tough games. But right now, the Jets can win any games. I don't think this will be devastating to them in terms of like momentum or their psyche if they lost this game.
Yeah, I don't think devastating, but man, you make a real statement if you go down and you beat the Bills and then you beat the Patriots in something they haven't done in a while.
Yeah, I agree with you. The win, like she was kind of asking if they lose. If they win, like, yeah, I think that gives them a lot more confidence going forward. I think they've established confidence with the wins in Green Bay and then the Buffalo win were kind of both statement wins to me that this team is better than anyone thought they were. And yeah, winning in New England would be another game like that. Even though the Patriots are not quite as good, it's still in Foxborough.
Yeah, not that the Patriots will make it, but you also have to think about these wild card tiebreakers, and if they are in it, that tiebreaker could play a part. And I would just love to win it because it sets you up where you don't have to beat Seattle and Miami to end the season. You win one of those, you're in good shape, and then beat the teams you should: Jaguars, Bears, and Lions. You're in a good position. So you lose this one, you kind of have to win one or two of those games that you're not going to be favored to win. So I think it's big. All right, let's see what we got next, Hearts.
You've got mail.
Hey, what's going on, Todd and Jake? This is Andrew from the BX, the Boogie Down Bronx. Just have a question about Zach Wilson. What does he have to do this Sunday to prove that he belongs in New York? Let me know.
I think he just has to be turnover free against the Patriots. He continues to show that Bill Belichick has his number. He's got to avoid those folly floaters he tried to throw, just get rid of it, throw it out of bounds, and use his legs. Like I said, the Pats give up over 6 yards to carry to quarterbacks. If he could, I'm not saying they do an option, but find a hole, go forward. If you take a sack, take a sack. Just do not turn the ball over. And that's been the recipe for success for the Jets. So show that you can beat Bill Belichick without trying these stupid throws down the field.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to prove anything long-term Sunday, right? I think there's going to be more than one game for him to prove like he's the long-term answer, but he just needs to play like he did against Buffalo and protect the ball. He had the one fumble, when he got sacked, but he did not throw any interceptions. Get the ball out of your hand quick. And then, Jake, to me, the third downs where he ran for 2 third down conversions were huge. Just, I know you want him to run, the triple option here and be run all the time. Just run the ball when it presents itself and you can get out there, go. And, he doesn't have to be Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson, but he did a really good job against Buffalo of converting with his legs. I think if he does that, that's another good sign for him. It's just kind of keep building on that Buffalo game and not try to do too much.
It's week 11. Can we see an option? I don't think we've seen one all year. I'd love to just see, all right, fake to James Robinson, boom, up to the left sideline, touchdown, Zach. I want to see one of those runs he had against, what was it, Jacksonville last year? Yeah, this would be the week to do it in New England. All right, next voicemail.
You've got mail.
Hey guys, love the pod. It's Drew from Jersey, and I just wanted to call and ask about what you guys think about the offensive line. It's been makeshift this year, but I feel like it's really settled down of late. And Max Mitchell, while he didn't look overexposed, he looked pretty solid, but I wonder how fast do they think about putting him back in there. I feel like this was a kind of a project year for him. And then also, even going down, where's George Fant? Are we ever going to see him in the field again? He's owed a contract. Just one of your overall thoughts about the offensive line now and going forward into next year. Thanks.
Good questions there from Drew. Drew actually used to co-host a radio show with me on ESPN Radio New Hampshire, where we would have to cover the Patriots. How about that? I had a year where I was interviewing Patriots Super Bowl champions after I graduated from Hofstra in 2013. The offensive line has not got a lot of credit, and they deserve it. They've done. I mean, you on the last before the bye gave them a ton of credit, so you showed them some love. But a lot of people haven't talked about this makeshift line and the job they've done. George Fant, I've worried about because, like you say, you're not seeing him. He was supposed to come back, but he's nowhere to be found. His age, I don't know when we're going to see him back. You could probably answer that better than I could. And then I don't think they should be relying a lot on Max Mitchell. He's not supposed to be that guy. He's done a good job, but I don't think they should be putting stock into him, kind of saving them when he comes back. Got to give credit to Cedric for the job he's done, but yeah, address those questions, Kaz.
Yeah, I think the offensive line has played very well. Look, the Buffalo win it was all them in the fourth quarter, right? Like they took that game over and they were blowing the Bills off the line. They also did a good job of protecting Zach in that game. He got rid of the ball quicker. So I thought they played pretty well. In terms of Max Mitchell versus Cedric, do you want to say his last name, Jake, for me?
Ogbuhi. Ogbuehi or Ogbuhi?
Big Cedric, I call him. Look, I thought he had a shaky game against the Patriots. I thought he played better against the Bills. There's guys, Jake, that are on the team that are patchwork guys that come in for a couple of games. You don't want them to be there for 8, 9, 10 games. I feel like he's one of those guys. Max Mitchell's a draft pick. They have something invested in him. I think when Mitchell is ready to play, you put him back in because he played well enough in those first 4 games to me that he deserves to play again. George Fant is a mystery. I actually saw him in the locker room today. I have not seen him on the field yet, in turn, because they opened the practice window. The practice window means you can actually practice with the team, but there's also side fields where guys work out, and I haven't seen him there yet. So that's concerning. And look, he had knee problems, going into the off season. He had knee surgery, and then the knee problems crop up again. Like that's not a good sign. And I know there was a lot of talk about him getting a contract. I don't think he's going to be with the Jets next year. I think they'll probably move on. I think Mitchell has done enough that he deserves a crack at right tackle next year. And then who knows, maybe they draft a left tackle, something like that. And then Mekhi Becton is still out there too, Jake, right? He's going to come back. I don't know. That's going to be a tough decision for the Jets is how much you rely on Mekhi Becton, in this offseason when you're planning the 2023 season. But right now, I think the line's playing pretty well. And like I said, I would put Mitchell back in there when he's ready.
Yeah, and you guy didn't mention Nate Herbeck has done a really good job.
Well. Yes, he's played well. Yep.
Do you think that plays a factor in terms of, and Dwayne Brown on the left side? Do you think it plays a factor with LaFleur and play calling runs to the left versus runs to the right, screens to the left, screens to the right, based on the guys he has out there? Like obviously the left side is better right now. Do you think they run more to the left and screens more to the left?
I think you try to balance it out. You don't want tells, but I think when the money downs come, you're thinking about that, right? Like I always remember Rex Ryan telling me, remember the Chargers playoff game, and they needed that yard, right? They needed Thomas Jones to get a yard on 4th and 1. I think it was 4th and 1, 4th and 2 to ice the game, and they went right behind Brandon Moore on that right side and Damian Woody, and because they trusted Brandon Moore implicitly. And Mangold at center, obviously, and they went right behind him. And I think you think about that in those money downs, but you have to balance it out or it'd be obvious, a little too obvious.
All right, next voicemail, Hearts. Let's hear it.
You've got mail.
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and I have a question for the Gangs All Here podcast. Is Zach Wilson the answer at quarterback?
Well, that's an easy one.
Keeping it simple. Cobbs would say no. Obviously, if you say right now, is he the answer? You probably say no, but I think we got to see what he does the rest of the season. It's too soon. Yeah. But if you got to say yes or no, and you have no other answer, you're probably gonna say no, but it's way too soon. And if he just like the Jets, that's their path to success. Mistake free, and they run the football.
Yeah, that's for this year, Jake, right?
Yeah.
That's for this year. They didn't draft him number 2 overall
to play mistake free. Yeah.
Right. Like that. You can sign a guy to do that for not that much money. If the number 2 overall pick at some point has to win you games if he's going to be the guy, the franchise quarterback. So I think they can go through this year like that, but then next year, do they lean on him? Can they lean on him a little bit more is going to be the question. But there's 8 games left this season, so there's still a lot to be decided before next year comes.
Yeah, basically, you're saying we haven't seen the signs, but there's still time, and because they've found scratched out wins, he has bought himself time. And he's his second year; he's gonna have time no matter what. And he dealt with injuries early in the year. So,
well, I'd say this, Jake, right? Geno Smith, Jets fans know Geno well, right? After that first game, when he said they wrote me off. What was the line? They wrote me off, but I didn't write them back.
Yep.
Right? Was that the line? Somebody texted me. He's talking about you. that worked for the Jets. And Like, it's true. It's like, but with Gino, like, it was hard. Like, remember the Atlanta game his rookie year. There were games where you're like, whoa, like this kid has something. But then there were other games where you're like, oh, whoa, this kid's terrible. It would have been so interesting to see Gino play that 2015 season with Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker. That was a good team. If he hadn't been punched in the mouth by IK. But now, you see what Gino's doing in Seattle. He looks like a franchise quarterback, but we were 9 years removed from when he was drafted by the Jets. So you're hoping it doesn't take that long to figure out Zach Wilson. He'll be somewhere else. But there are guys who it takes a little while. And for me, Jake, you'd like to see Zach have one game at least in the next 8 games where it's like he puts his team on his back and he throws for 4 touchdowns and he drives them down the field. Like, he does everything you're looking for in a franchise quarterback.
What were you saying? Someone texted you about me. What were you talking about there?
They texted me about Gino when Gino said his line. They wrote me off, but I didn't write them back.
I thought you were saying someone texted you about me as a co-host. Said they wrote me off.
They texted me and said Gino's talking about you. About me, like that I wrote him off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I wrote Gino. I probably was not very kind to Gino at one point.
Oh, if the Seahawks beat the Jets in week 17, Kaz is to blame. That is
maybe Gino will call us out. Maybe Gino will,
maybe we'll have Gino on the pod that week. How about that? Or the post game pod if they end up winning, and he'll have his chance of revenge. All right, let's play the next voicemail.
You've got mail.
Hey, Jake, what's going on? It's Anthony. Just wanted to give a quick buzz. I did have a question. I mean, obviously, the AFC East, every team right now, if the season ended today, they're all playoff bound. What do you think the Jets need to do to keep the pedal on the metal for the second half of the season, knowing that every team in the East is really, really competitive, and it's going to take every win to possibly not only just what we want to win the East, but to just make the playoffs. Thanks for answering my question, and wish you all the best. Take care. Bye.
All right. Thanks for the question. And I think it's like we said, mistake free and just ground and pound. Like what they did on that final drive against the Bills, like that's going to be on the Jets highlight reel this season. The Jets yearbook on SNY in the middle of, a Mets rain delay in 2027. It's going to be that drive. So I think just keep running the ball successfully and play defense and Zach mistake free and, let the defense do the thing. Let Sauce Gardner do his thing and force a couple turnovers. And that's it. That's a recipe for the playoffs, Kaz.
I'm not going to argue with you, Jake. You got it. It was addressed to you. So, there you go.
Yeah. I think you meant Jake and Kaz, but it's
score more points than the other team. That's the key, Jake.
That's called analysis right there. All right. Well, thanks everybody for calling in. Jets, Pats, enjoy the game. We'll talk to you Monday.